Okay, 2 things before I get started. 1, I had my hair in a really high ponytail, and someone asked me to take it down because they said they feel safer when my hair is down. So don't say I never did anything for you. Hope you feel safe. The second thing is this is a Pink Phony Club video. Is it Sharon Fraud, where you enjoy someone else's pain? Yeah, it's one of those. I don't normally do ones like that, but this one is, and it's deserved. But here's the funny thing. So I've got my pink phone, and I face outside. There's a park where I'm looking right now, and I had this sitting up against the window waiting to make this video. And trigger warning, I'm going to show you what was on it. And the reason I'm going to show you is because it was propped up against the window. It was facing me, but I was going through things I was going to post. And this was sitting on the screen. And I just kept thinking, oh my God, someone's going to see that because it was up against the window. But this is what people saw. And then unfortunately my son walked in and I was in the room and I hear him go, what the hell is on your phone? Dan Bongino. Because this is about the oh God, no pun intended, but the absolute beating that Dan Bongino is taking from MAGA for the lack of everything he is. And when I say live by conspiracy theory, die by conspiracy theory, I mean it. Live by white supremacy, die by white supremacy. Live by patriarchy, die by patriarchy. And this is the story of what happens when you try and build a government off of conspiracy theories and the other things I talked about. Because when you don't deliver and you try and gaslight people and then just go back out into the regular population like everything's cool, you can't do that with conspiracy theorists. They expect to be delivered on. Their identities are wrapped in this. I know some people, they're like, oh, I could have a conspiracy theory about this. But that's not what these people are. They're devotees. They think they're going to save children, save people. They're going to bring justice. They're going to fix America. All this crap. Because this administration and all the podcasters and the influencers have pumped these out to these people, and they think that all this justice should be happening because they think there's actual evidence. And I see them say all the time, they're like, there's so much goddamn evidence. Why aren't these people just locked up? And they have roid rage too. But there isn't evidence. But I know that I've done that sometimes when it just feels like it's something that everybody knows. Like, I can't think of an example right now, but sometimes on the left, it's just kind of like, yeah, but like, we just know. And if people would say, well, like, okay, but what's the evidence for that? I'm just like, well, we know. Well, that doesn't work in a court of law. And they get so mad because they're left. They just went in, they arrested people, and they put people in prison. It's like, yeah, because we had evidence. And they think that this White House has all the evidence, and the only way that they can come up with why they haven't used all this evidence that none of them have seen, but it's like their brain makes them believe they've seen it and they know it, because they have so many people. It's not one or two, it's all of them. And they all back it up with their own stories, and it just reinforces it and makes it feel true. And on the right, when you're raised in religion, or even all the things I've talked about, white supremacy, patriarchy, your feelings are facts. It's not they're more than, they're less than, they simply are. So they fight with us because when we challenge them, it's like their subconscious, like, why are you challenging me? Everyone knows this, and you know it, and you're just lying, and you're a deceiver. And the left thinks the same thing. They think everyone on the right knows the truth, and they're just being assholes. Except we see completely different worlds. And right now, Trump's administration is really bumping up against Q and all the people that believed that. I mean, a lot of them are still locked in, and I'm going to show you something that Trump's administration is now doing. But these influencers and podcasters that have pumped them out, they are accountable, like, financially, right? Because they need these people to listen to them and support them and keep buying in, and they don't now. Or they think they were a sellout, or that they've caved to is real, or, because then their brain has to make up another conspiracy theory as to why, because that's the only way their brain operates now. It's like it's so infected with conspiracy theories. And I know it's really frustrating, but a lot of it is because their brain has not been developed in logic. Mine wasn't. My dad taught us all kinds of conspiracy theories. He would have been like an RFK. He was very MAGA. Before there was a MAGA, he was a chiropractor. We had a health food store when I was little, and he was very charismatic. So I was thinking that he'd have been a Trump. I'm like, he probably would have been more like RFK. Ooh. And so it's like they don't even understand reality anymore. And that's what's so sad. And I'm going to give you an example. Some guy on X was talking about Bongino, but they were trying to figure out like why they're not doing what they said, because they can't go to the simplest thing, which is we're being lied to. And that's one of the easiest ways to get conned is if you have a brain that doesn't go like, oh, is it possible that I'm just being conned or I'm being lied to? Because most people's brains don't do that. And so you get conned several times before you finally catch on and can go, oh, I'm being conned. But it's like they've dedicated a decade, and probably a lot more than that, to these conspiracy theories. And I've read some of this stuff and I've listened to it, and it's like Glenn Beck. That's who I would listen to. And like the man would cry and he'd have chalkboards up and he'd be diagramming how Hillary Clinton and George Bush and the Muslim Brotherhood and how it was all going to come toppling down. And it's like you believe it, because why would someone get on there and lie? And it's kind of like humans have to trust each other to survive, but it's also like our downfall, because we trust people. If they show a lot of emotion or they lie super boldly publicly, the human brain goes, that's true, because nobody does that. They white lie, but they wouldn't go out and make up all that stuff, because we'll just find out eventually. So the brain will just accept it. That's the biggest thing that Trump does, is he just lies in your face over and over, and you could challenge it and he's just like, nope, not true. He'll just keep going. There's no hesitancy in his lying, and his whole administration has picked it up and they've gotten really proficient at it. Kristi Noem and Trump getting up there like, oh, our guy was run over and he totally didn't do it and this one was a terrorist. Like, they'll do that, but their brain accepts it because people don't lie about really big things. They lie about little things. Go to church. They're lying to your face all day. Church is essentially a conspiracy theory. Religion. Like, we don't have proof of the things that are in this book that was written 1,000 years ago or whatever it was. Like, we don't have proof of that. We just like to believe that because human beings like to feel special and they like to feel like they know something that other people don't. It makes them feel smarter. It makes them feel in control. It makes them feel like they're in the know, like they know what the Matrix is. It's just a weird phenomenon that humans have. It's nice when your brain can finally accept and learn logic like mine did. So now I'm absolutely like a freaking repulsed. But it took a long time because I'd see something that looked like it challenged leadership or challenged the status quo, challenged big pharma, all that kind of stuff. And there's this instinct to believe that because they are at risk for challenging the higher ups and speaking out. And there's something about human beings that think they wouldn't have taken that risk, kind of like they wouldn't have lied if, it wasn't true. And I think that a lot of people, because of social media, have taught each other to lie that way. And that's why we have so many scammers in the MAGA stuff and self-help. Like, there's so much of it, but they've trained each other like what works. And they use it on people, and it works like a freaking charm. Like Dr. Mike, if you've seen him on here, he was interviewing that guy that does brain scans. And he was saying, like, well, why doesn't psychiatry accept these? And he's like, well, what paradigm are they looking through? And my body just went, oh, God, because as soon as you say that, then people go, oh yeah, so we're challenging the status quo, we're challenging the power. And I think human beings have that rebellious part to them, and that speaks to that, like, yeah, we're gonna out the bad guys. And that's what these people thrive off of, is they think the bad guys are gonna be outed and that will right things in their life. And it's actually really freaking sad. Okay, sorry, so I'm going back to the guy that was talking on X. He was talking about Dan Bongino, but he was also talking about what happened with ICE, and a lot of them are starting to go like, something's up with these ICE operations. Like, why aren't we seeing a lot of deportations? Why aren't we seeing mass deportations? Because in their heads, the picture has been painted for them of just tons of big vans pulling up, putting 20, 30 in a van and driving off because, they think there's 20 to 50 or 100 million illegals. And now that that isn't happening, their brain is trying to figure out another answer for that. But usually those answers lie in conspiracy theories again, because it doesn't go to logic. It doesn't go to the simplest answer. It just doesn't. And this guy was trying to figure out why Pam Bondi hasn't shut down. Oh God, this really did make me sad. Why hasn't she shut down the criminal enterprises that are funding the people that go try and stop ICE? And he's like, because somebody's alerting them. Like, they have to be paid for, because how are they getting there so fast? How is this happening? And it didn't even occur to him that these are just neighbors looking out for each other. They're all paid. It's all dark. It's all shadowy. They must have an alert. Why isn't Pam Bondi shutting that down? And then he's like, yeah, it all must be part of all the fraud. And fraud is such a broad thing to say. And Trump can just go, the fraud, it's the fraud. And they can all start screaming fraud. And then they are like, yeah, it's the fraud. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I talked to him and I said, you know what? I said, the videos you see with us there is because we're filming it. But there's lots of times that happens, but you don't see that because we're not filming it. And the other reason we're there is because we just look out for our neighbors. And I said, it makes me sad, because I said a lot of times people get taken in by con men because they're trusting. And they don't even think to ask if they're being conned or if they're being lied to, because it scares them or it's going to make them feel embarrassed. And I said, but unless people start asking those questions, people in our government and influencer stuff are going to continue to be able to trick people and have them not even consider that human decency is just a natural thing. Instead, they become paranoid and thinking something's up. So I'm going to read some stuff and show you some stuff that's going on with Dan Bongino. Because as far as I can remember, he's really the first main one that has left, because this administration has kept all the psychos in pretty well. And they're all gaining so much that they don't want to go anywhere anyway. And Dan Bongino he was a NYPD, and then I guess he's part of the Secret Service for Bush and Obama. And then, of course, he went into conservative media. I had to look that up because I don't know who the fuck this dude is. But apparently people have been listening to him for 10 years. Same with Kash Patel and these others who have just gone after the Epstein stuff. He didn't kill himself, we've got to bring it down. And they go into all these conspiracy theories, but they really stuck on Epstein and told their followers, no matter what, we can never let this go. This is the deep state. This is the cabal. This is the answer to everything. Once we get this, then real order and good will be happening. All will be right with the world, and things can start functioning again. That's how huge this is to them. That's why they can't let it go. Because even when they're disillusioned with Trump, they still think all that stuff is real. The deep state, obviously the stuff with Epstein's real, but Trump's been taken over by the deep state. He's been taken over by Israel. Again, it's just more conspiracy theories to explain when a conspiracy theory doesn't work out. Because the simplest answer is an absolute threat, and a lot of the brains won't even consider it. Well, Dan Bongino left his spot as the deputy director at the FBI, and I think it was his last tweet before he left. He said, "What I have learned has shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned." So you would think he'd be coming out okay guys, here's what's really going on. But what did he do? He got on there and told all the black pillars, which are all the people who are pissed off that Trump isn't doing anything that he said he would do. They think both sides are the same. They think it's all uniparty. They're the ones backing Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, or they're screaming at Trump and Cash and Dan Bongino. And Pam Bondi, So he comes out and he just starts trashing all of them, and he's telling them basically they're ungrateful and stop being whiny bitches, and that he's gonna block them. And he went on a massive blocking spree, and any of them, if they said like, what's going on, why aren't you telling us anything, why didn't you do anything when you were there, it's just block, block, block. So now it's like a badge of honor if you have been blocked by Dan Bongino. And when I say these people are ruthless, they are ruthless, because think of how they attack people on the left. They attack people on the right the same. Like, there is no freaking mercy, especially alpha to alpha. So I'm going to show you a few of the memes they've made. So that's that gross one where they're tattooing his butt and it says Epstein killed himself. Cute. You have no idea the nothing I will unleash. They post that same thing with Trump a lot. Pedo Protection Agent. He's a PPA. Dan Bongino. The Disappointments. Coming to a theater near you. I could post so many, but like, who wants to see more of his face? Or his butt? Okay, so I'm gonna read you some. I mean, there's tens of thousands of comments, I would think at this point, of people attacking Dan Bongino because they thought he was going to come out after saying, after the things I've seen, and let them know, like, the horrors and why he couldn't stop it, which he hasn't done. He's just attacking them and saying, get with the program, trust the plan, everyone should be supporting Israel and Trump. And he did his like comeback video the other night, but the thing is, it was like 2 months ago, he was on Sean Hannity, and I think it was about the Epstein case, and Hannity asked him a question about it, and then I think he brought up he said something like, I used to be a paid podcaster. I was paid for the things that I was said, but now I'm with like the government, so you can trust me. And it was so cringe. It was like, oh, so basically you just lie for right-wing money. So now he's back there, and they're all like, they already heard and saw that. And then his first episode, this lady asks him, like, what's the most dear to his heart? Israel. Protecting Israel. And these people who think Israel has hold of the White House lost their damn minds. So between him attacking them, calling them black-pilled, calling them a bunch of wieners and like crybabies, and then you get with the program, between that, not coming out and telling them anything, telling them all to shut up, blocking them, and then saying the thing most dear to his heart is Israel, he's lucky he's alive. And I think the same's going to happen to any of these people that leave, because they never had any intention of doing anything they said, because it's all fake. But because they're narcissists, they think that they can do whatever they want, and they can keep conning and scamming people. I mean, they've watched Trump do it this long, and they think that when they leave there, they're going to be able to just come up with a reason, that's fine that they didn't stop the corruption, and then just keep on grifting. And these people are not going for it. I mean, they're becoming pariah in their own community. It's so sad. Dan, nothing to see here, Bongina. You're a disgrace. You should be ashamed, you puppet. He said to all of them, like, what team are you on anyway? Oh, they didn't like that. Whose team are you on? Is that what we're doing? Picking teams and being sheep loyalists? F you, DB! I team with We the People, and F Trump too. And I say this as someone who voted for that scumbag twice, and F me for voting for him. I regret it every effing day. And I'm saying it like that because it's all capitalized. Wow, everyone note, huge difference in podcast at Dan Bongino now. He used to speak directly into the camera, asking these questions and demanding results and accountability from government, maybe because he believed it then. Now watch, he won't even look at you while he's talking. He did look down, or he would just look to the side. He had someone there, but he would not engage directly with the camera, which was interesting. At Dan Bongino is one of the hugest letdowns in my life of someone I actually believed in. I used to watch his show, I read his books, I was all in when he was DD of the FBI, but then, good Lord, what a loser. And I think this also points to their parasocial relationships with these people that do podcasts and that are influencers. Probably like Glenn Beck back in the day, because I'm sure he wrote books. I didn't read any of that, but like he was still in my ear every day, watching poor man have nervous breakdowns every day. Like, I think part of me was there for moral support. And if you ever see clips of these men, like, their veins are popping out. They're just like, we have to save the children. We must bring the cabal to justice. Like, they look like they are having nervous breakdowns every day. And I do feel like some of these people are there because they feel like these people need moral support. I don't think they think about it that way, but like, they feel for them because they think that they're doing the hard work of bringing the truth to them. And so they want to support them. And so they buy their stuff. And like, this is just so complicated now with social media. And now part of the narrative is they think that Trump sent him back out to get everybody back in line because there's an absolute split in the base. And so he wants to quiet down the anti-Semitic talk, and he wants him to, convince people to pull them back in line, and probably thought, you were effective with the podcast, to do that again. Kind of like, it's hurt him a lot that Charlie Kirk is gone. So he might need these people back out there. But you can't go out there preaching that you're going to get in there and do all this work, and they go, oh yeah, and Epstein killed himself, there's nothing there. Like, you just can't. He's going to try and make everyone follow Trump and make sure that no one questions anything going on, like how his top cause is now Israel. So he'll talk about all the people who are now anti-Semitic, because that's what they say to them. Give me an effing break. He didn't do shit while he was there. NDAs were signed, I'm sure, so it's not like he can even tell us what he did do, which is nothing. He can't run with the big dog, so he has to stay on the porch, or in his case, podcast. And they made this doll of him, and they call him Deep State Dan. I think everyone in the administration about has one of these dolls. I'll have to post him sometime. It's just part of the joy of living on X. He's been tasked with getting wayward MAGA back on the reservation. Bongino is a bladder full of hot air. I have no regard for anything he has left to say, and I have no respect for anyone who continues to unironically listen to him. This post is from a guy named Owen Schroyer. He was a January 6th that Trump pardoned, who is now against Trump. The whole black pill thing, like, you've lied to us, you didn't do anything you said you were going to do, there's been no arrest, blah, 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 blah. And thinks Israel's in on everything, but he's going after Dan too. And he's got a big following. And he used to work with Alex Jones, and Alex kicked him out. So there's so much beefing going on, everybody. Don't worry, guys. Once I abandoned my post at one of the most powerful institutions in America that gave me the power and opportunity to do the things I talked about for years, I'll really get after them on my podcast. Absolutely, Bongino is out here playing Trump's mouthpiece, which is exactly why Trump is worried about midterms, and all these influencers are pulling together to try and shut down any of us with an opinion different from theirs. Did they put him back out in the public to control the narrative? That is precisely what they did. It is unbelievable that this is where we have found ourselves just 1 year after Trump took office. The only reason any of this administration has any support left is pure propaganda. Glad I'm not the only one. I'm not the only person who thought this. They know they're losing the narrative. Releasing Dan back into the public sphere was a counter move, in my opinion. It makes more sense than anything else. My brother and I believe Dan is going to be used to try to reel in the deep state narrative. He will work overtime to tell all of us that he was wrong before, and after being there, he can confirm there is no there. F Dan. He's not to be trusted at this point. And now I'm going to play you 2 video clips of different influencers and podcasters that are calling him out, but there's tons of them. Don't need to play all of them. But what I'm trying to show on this first one, his name is Ryan Mata, whatever, I don't know. Don't have my glasses on, don't care. But when in the very beginning of the video I said, if you live by conspiracy theory, patriarchy, white supremacy, you're going to die by those things. And listen, and being a white straight male, and listen to the way that they attack each other. So these people are shaming people that are following him now. Like, that's what I try and tell you guys, like, the infighting is severe, and to hear them say stuff like this to the people that consider still listening to Dan Bongino, they're attacking them too.
closet homosexual if you watch Dan Bongino. If you are excited for Dan Bongino to come back and pick back up his microphone, you are at a level of cucked that's up there with like fanboy for Merrick Garland or like fanboy for Chris Ray. Like I can't tell who's more of a closet homosexual, somebody that likes Merrick Garland or somebody that watches the Dan Bongino podcast. Now that's up for debate. Now, you know,
like I've never met a Merrick Garland fan of any sort, or Christopher Ray, but do you see the language they use? Like they use on each other what they use on us. Like there's no mercy. And all they know is shaming, because most of the people on the right, if not all, are raised in authoritarian households. So shaming is how you discipline, and it's how you help people. You shame them and try and humiliate them because you love them. Now, this is a longer one from Dan Smith. Dan Smith is a comedian, but he's also a political podcaster, and he's a libertarian. He voted for Trump. He thinks Trump should be impeached. He spoke out about that once he started messing around with Epstein files and said they were a hoax, and he still thinks that. And he's been making the circuit, basically making for the case for Trump being removed. But he still believes in all these conspiracy theories, and he still talks about them. And he and Dan Bongino are beefing and like threatening each other, and Dan Bongino's threatening Matt Gaetz, and it's just a circle jerk clusterfuck. However, people like Dan Smith are going to gain more popularity because they're standing up to Trump. They're blackpilled. They're the ones that are demanding accountability. And so they're going to kind of be the leaders of this other movement, America First. So they're gaining power. Anyone else supporting Trump or Israel, like Ben Shapiro, that kind of group, they are losing followers, as is Dan Bongino. So this here is Dan Smith.
Said, we watched you lie through your teeth. Look, he said, I've seen the files. He killed himself. I just want you to think about this, okay? Dan Bongino, after talking about this all the time, and you saw him right there in the clip saying, don't let up. Don't let up on the Epstein thing. We got to keep talking about this. None of this makes sense. What you didn't see there is he even went as far as one time on the Tim Pool show, he said, I have it on good authority that Jeffrey Epstein worked for Middle Eastern intelligence. Could be any of those Middle Eastern countries, of course. But so he said all that. Then he goes in there, he says, I've seen the files. He killed himself. That was approximately 2 months before the official position of the administration was that the files don't exist. So he said he's seen the files and he's killed himself. And by the way, as you know, because we followed this whole crazy train, right? You know, the end result of it is that the bill passed. The files are to be released. Great. So now we all get to see it, right? I mean, I understand they just missed a deadline, but of course this administration is that they ran on being the most transparent administration in history, right? So we're going to get all that information. So this will be great. So let's see what Dan Bongino saw. I mean, Dan Bongino, by the way, you're coming back to podcasting now. The files have been declassified. I'm not a lawyer, but pretty sure you can tell us now. It's not classified information anymore. You can tell us exactly what you saw, exactly how you were able to look the American people in the eye and guarantee and promise that he killed himself. And you know that for a fact. I mean, you must have seen some really strong evidence in order to know that for a fact. What we've seen so far is a fake AI image of Epstein attempting to kill himself in some way in his cell, but it was clearly determined that wasn't a real video. So what is it that you saw, Dan? I mean, look, dude, if you want to come back into this world, in this world here, as you knew before you went into government, in this world, the currency is honesty. The currency is the truth. So tell us, man. You went into government, looked us all in the eye, and made up a big fat fucking lie that you don't know. And you know it. You know you did that. So now you think you're going to be the one to come back into this, the podcasting game, and you're going to be policing this space, the black pillars? Like, okay.
So yeah, they're cannibalizing each other over there. And I know this last week, since the first, has been freaking brutal. But I'm just here to remind you that they are cannibalizing each other. And when they are out of there, whether we drag them out or they're elected out, and dictators get elected out all the time, elected out, de-elected, unelected, removed, whatever. It doesn't necessarily take a violent revolution. I'm not saying that we may not head that direction, but elections do remove people, and we will have elections. Don't even. We will be having elections. And these people, when they are removed, they're either going to run, they're going to be pariah if they try and stay here, there will be no future for them, or they're going to be in fucking prison if they're alive by the election.